The pig family is huge, way bigger than you might think. Do you really know all of Peppa's amazing relatives? Great Aunt Eevee. If you said yes, then let's talk about someone who's gonna make you rethink that answer. And no, we're not talking about Peppa's baby sister, you've definitely heard of her. The Eevee we mean is Peppa's great aunt, and Mummy Pig named her newest daughter after her as a tribute. She's actually one of the most mysterious members of the family. Since Great Aunt Eevee has already passed away, she never appeared in person on the show. She was only mentioned very recently during an interview Papa Pig gave about baby Eevee's birth, just to explain where the little one's name came from. From what we can tell, Grandma Pig is Great Aunt Eevee's niece. That's because Grandpa Pig barely remembers her, while Grandma Pig clearly does, as if they were blood relatives. That's the oldest relative of Peppa's that we know about, but let's keep going. After all, we're here to tell you everything about the pig family tree. So hop on board, it's time for another Cinewave, Grandma Pig. Next in the family line is Grandma Pig, who is the daughter of one of Great Aunt Pig's siblings. Though we don't know anything about that character, she's still married to Grandpa Pig to this day, and both are super sweet seniors. But her looks can be deceiving. Even though she seems like just a nice old lady, Grandma Pig is really into rock music, and there are hints that she had a pretty rebellious youth. She's very outgoing and still loves throwing parties even now. Grandma Pig loves lots of things, wearing perfume, so much so that she even taught Peppa how to make her own. Cooking, shopping, and relaxing. Though let's be honest, everyone loves that. And her favorite food is strawberries. Another thing she loves is raising chickens. She takes care of 3 hens and 1 rooster in her backyard. The hens are named Jemima, Sarah, and Vanessa, and the rooster's name is Neville. Grandpa Pig. The one who's not a fan of the chickens is Grandpa Pig, mostly because they eat the veggies he plants. Funny thing, he even gives the hens different names, and male ones at that. Tom, Dick, and Harry. Grandpa Pig is a retired sailor and super proud of it. He almost always wears his Navy hat, which totally brings back memories of the good old days when he served his country. He's also great friends with Grandpa Dog, who also served in the Navy back in the day. The two have this friendly rivalry going on. Even though he's terrible with computers and modern tech, Grandpa Pig is a great mechanic, and he's even fixed computers using his know-how. So it's pretty likely that he was the ship's mechanic back in his sailing days. Besides his time in the Navy, Grandpa Pig also used to be a biker. He wore a leather jacket and rode a motorcycle with his wife. They must have been total rebels and rockers back then. Aunt Dottie. Now let's talk about another very mysterious family member who was basically a legend for years, Aunt Dottie. She was first mentioned a long time ago in Horse Twinkletoes back in 2011. In that episode, Peppa and George get a toy sent by Dottie. That's when we find out she's one of Peppa's aunts who live in another country. And that's all we knew. For over a decade, there was no new info about her. We didn't even know which of Peppa's parents she was related to. A lot of people assumed Dottie was Daddy Pig's sister, but that turned out to be wrong when she finally appeared on the show. The episode where it happened was Thanksgiving, when Aunt Dottie suddenly traveled to England to reunite with her family. That's when Mummy Pig revealed they're sisters. Even though she finally got an episode to herself, we still don't know a lot about her. What we do know is that she visited Peppa shortly after she was born, but never got the chance to meet George. Even though she rarely visits, Dottie seems to care. After all, she sent presents to her niece and nephew, even though she barely knows them. One more thing, she seems a bit forgetful since she didn't even tell her sister she was coming. Mummy Pig. Now it's time to talk about Mummy Pig herself. Just like her own mother, Peppa's mom gives off that typical stay-at-home mom vibe. A sweet, responsible adult who's always ready to help. But that's not exactly the whole story. She can be a bit impulsive too, like the time she laughed at Peppa and Susie when they were arguing instead of just asking what happened. She's also scared of spiders, as we saw in the episode Mr. Skinny Legs. That said, her positive traits definitely stand out. Mummy Pig is really smart, way more than Daddy Pig. In fact, she has more than one job. Besides writing stuff for the internet, she and her friends are also firefighters in town. Now that's what we call dedication. Do you love Peppa's family as much as we do? If so, drop a comment down below with #family. Daddy Pig's parents. Now, leaving the maternal side of the family tree and heading to the paternal side, let's talk about Daddy Pig's parents. Oh wait, they've never appeared on the show. Peppa doesn't even know her paternal grandparents, and they've never been mentioned, which is kinda suspicious. It's very likely that Daddy Pig's parents have already passed away, maybe due to old age, illness, or even a car accident. But there's also a chance they're still alive and just live really far away, maybe in another country, like Dottie. Still, if that were the case, you'd think they'd be at least mentioned, unless Daddy Pig and Uncle Pig both seriously disliked them. What do you think? Uncle Pig. Speaking of which, Uncle Pig is Daddy Pig's older brother, and no one can deny they're related. They look a lot alike. The main differences are that Uncle Pig doesn't wear glasses and has a different beard, a black one. He's a cheerful and upbeat guy, but hates being compared to his little brother, especially because even though he's also chubby, he's not as overweight as Daddy Pig. That's probably why the other characters don't tease him about his weight the way they constantly do with Daddy Pig. Auntie Pig. Auntie Pig is Uncle Pig's wife, so she's not a blood relative of Peppa's. Since she doesn't wear glasses like Dottie, she ends up looking a lot like Mummy Pig. Her biggest visual differences are her floral dress and the blonde eyelashes on her big eyes. She's fun, easygoing, and kind of a dreamer. Daddy Pig. You've probably been waiting for us to talk about Daddy Pig, right? Well, here he is. Peppa's dad is one of the show's most beloved characters. He's a chill guy, instantly recognizable by his big round belly and the glasses he's worn ever since he was a little kid. Even though he never gets angry and seems totally harmless, Daddy Pig is without a doubt one of the most powerful characters in the show. And no, we're not talking about Dragon Ball style fights, but come on, the guy can literally launch himself into the air like it's nothing. On top of that, this pig is also super smart. He works as an engineer and is highly respected in his field. That kind of job takes years of college-level education, so Daddy Pig is no joke. That's exactly why it's so funny that he can also be ridiculously clumsy and slow at times, like when he accidentally got stuck in cement or couldn't even hang a picture on the wall, which Mummy Pig did with zero effort. Because of his silly moments and chubby figure, everyone makes fun of him, even Peppa and his own wife. You deserve better, Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig's sister? And hey, we can't forget to talk about a certain possibility. What if Daddy Pig doesn't just have an older brother, but also a sister? Here's the thing, in his office there's a black and white photo of a little piglet next to a young female pig. The two kinda look like Peppa and George, but let's be real, it's hard to believe they took a photo without color. It makes way more sense if that's actually a childhood picture of Daddy Pig with his sister. That's one of the reasons why fans used to think Aunt Dottie was his sister. But now that we know she's not, who is Peppa's aunt on Daddy Pig's side? Guess we'll have to wait to find out. One thing that's not a mystery? You'll get all of our latest videos if you hit that subscribe button. Sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? Chloe Pig. We've already talked about 3 generations of the pig family. The oldest one with Great Aunt Eevee, the grandparents' generation, the parents' generation, and now it's time to talk about the kids, starting with the oldest, Chloe. She's Uncle Pig's daughter and is 10 years old, already a big girl. Big enough that she refuses to take part in little kid games like the ones Peppa plays. Chloe's pretty full of herself and thinks she's already grown up. She even shows up wearing a cap sometimes. Peppa Pig. 5 years after Chloe was born, Peppa came into the world, ready to play like crazy. But let's be real, there's no way you don't already know her, right? The little pig is the star of the show and is 4 years old, always ready to have fun with her friends. Peppa is super bossy, and that often makes her argue with others, like George and her best friend Susie Sheep. But what matters is that she's always learning from her mistakes and becoming a better pig. George Pig. Next in line after her is her little brother George. He was the baby of the family for most of the series. George is only 2 years old and barely talks, unless the word is dinosaur, which he's absolutely obsessed with. He's always been kind of spoiled, but that might change now that he has a new baby sister, Baby Alexander. For a long time, Baby Alexander was the youngest member of the pig family. He's Uncle Pig's son and Chloe's little brother. He first appeared on the show as a newborn, and later we got to see him a little more grown up, Baby Eevee. And then more recently, the family welcomed a brand new member, Little Eevee. She's Mummy and Daddy Pig's 3rd child and the biggest change the show has seen in a while. We got to see her whole journey, from the announcement to the pregnancy and finally the birth. Since she's still a newborn, Eevee hasn't developed much of a personality yet, but she already seems playful and loves rubber duckies, kind of like how George is into dinosaurs. Trust us, we're gonna learn a whole lot more about this little one as new episodes roll out. So, wanna keep watching with us? If yes, just click on one of the videos we've left on your screen. Thanks, and see you next time!